on the first couple of days of free agency. In fact, people who followed along on social media probably noticed some snark, a lot of citing of various reports and sources, even Ian's head floating by SpongeBob in one particularly memorable announcement from the Bengals. That all went away today. The NFL sent a memo to the club saying that you can announce player signings for this year only as long as the sides have come to an agreement and both the player and the agent have been sent a copy of the contract. The contract and the deal is not official, however, until the player does pass a physical. It's signed by both parties and filed to the league office. If any team had the idea of announcing a signing then not carrying it out to gain competitive advantage by making it seem like a player was off the market, the NFL says they would be subject to potential discipline, including fines and lost draft picks. Scott?
Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, Steve Weich, all on cameras purposely spaced out at a safe distance. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, some players are acknowledging how difficult this is on all aspects of society dealing with the coronavirus spreading across the world. The Rams tweeting out Jared Goff and Andrew Whitworth each donating $250,000 to the LA Food Bank to help fund 2 million meals. Well done on that, gentlemen. Speaking of Los Angeles, the Rams cut Todd Gurley today. He was the NFL's leading touchdown scorer 3 years ago. He was the same 2 years ago. But last year, knee issues greatly diminished his production, and there were financial considerations involved as well. Gurley took to Twitter today, trying to be a little tongue-in-cheek here, saying, "Damn, I got fired on my day off." Shout out to all of the fans of the movie Friday for that quote there. And then Gurley a little bit later tweeting out, "All business, nothing personal." Ian Rappaport back with us now. Mike Garafolo joins us as well. Ian, take us through the financial aspect that led to the decision, or at least contributed to the decision for the Rams.
Yeah, a lot of this decision was about the finances. And if you're wondering why Gurley was released today, it was because it was before 4 p.m. And at that point, had the Rams not released him, an extra $10 million, $10.5 million actually, would have been fully guaranteed to Todd Gurley. So that is why the timing was. As it happened, he was already given $7 million that was fully guaranteed coming to him this year. And, of course, you couple that, Mike, with the lack of touches this year and obviously the lack of faith from the Rams staff to Gurley. They basically did not give him the ball like they did in the past. They knew that the knee was a problem and did not quite treat him like the workhorse that he had been. And, of course, there was frustration from all sides with his injury, with the public questions. This certainly seemed like a situation that had to be resolved, and it was resolved today as the face of the franchise in Los Angeles was officially informed of his release.
Todd Gurley available to 31 teams at this time. And, Mike, this has been a soft running back market. Do you see a landing spot for Todd Gurley?
Ian mentioned a few earlier, and the Atlanta Falcons, who let go of Devontae Freeman a couple of weeks ago, certainly make sense. Gurley did play in college down there in Georgia, so perhaps he can come back there. You enliven your fan base by saying, here's a guy that played extremely well in college. Now he's here. But what's the contract going to look like? And what's the workload going to look like? 61 fewer touches for him in 2019 than 2018, and the load management had really already started on the back end of that 2018 season, that run to the Super Bowl. So, people are saying, oh, this is really going to hurt Melvin Gordon's market. I don't know about that. Melvin Gordon is much more healthy at this point. Melvin Gordon's workload didn't have to be limited except for the fact that he held out last year. So there are questions about Gurley. We chased down a couple of leads that we thought were leads as far as potential trades. One of them was the Miami Dolphins. We thought he was going to get sent there. The Dolphins sources that we spoke to told us flatly no. So I don't know that he's going to have a ton of interest. So maybe he winds up in Atlanta or somewhere else on a much lesser number than he was scheduled to make.
He goes from at one time being the highest paid running back in football to now on the street. We'll see what, if any, ripple effect this has on the running back position, which has already been devalued in recent years, I think you could say, by teams and their and their financial people. Ian, Mike, thank you both very much. Just moments ago, by the way, Rams head coach Sean McVay releasing a statement on Todd Gurley saying, quote, "I would like to thank Todd for his many contributions to the Rams on and off the field since I have been here. He has meant a lot to my growth as a coach and leader, and he will always be remembered as one of the all-time great Rams. I wish him nothing but the best." Let's analyze this move a little bit more. Super Bowl champions David Carr and Terrell Davis, the Hall of Famer. Let's start with the Hall of Fame running back right here. TD, what do you see in Gurley's game that has diminished, and what do you see in Gurley's game that can still go help someone else win in 2020?
First of all, Scott, that's one of my favorite movies. We're talking about Friday.
Friday, yeah.
How you get fired on your day off. That was hilarious by Todd Gurley there. But you listen, I think the question for Todd or anybody watching Todd is how healthy is he? And you see what the Rams did, and to me that gave me a sense that they felt like he could never return back to his all-pro form. So that was a glimpse to me saying, hey, listen, if he's healthy, they pick up the $10 million option, they go for it, they can get him back to that level, but not signing him and releasing him, to me, it spoke volumes to me. So is he still a good back? Absolutely. Is he still a back that can give you, 800 rushing yards, 50 receptions in a season, with a manageable workload? Absolutely. So he'll be a commodity to a lot of teams in this league. But, wow, I just don't know if we'll see that guy that they signed that extension with 2 years ago, because we haven't seen it since the end of 2018. And that's why the Rams let go.
Yeah, David, now to you here. Look, the knee certainly contributes to this, I am sure. A knee injury that the Rams really never fully acknowledged probably the extent of it, but we saw it play out through the season here. But the running back position seems to be further devalued right now, and Todd Gurley goes from being one of the megastars in the league to where he is today on the street and available to everyone. How would you analyze it?
I mean, it's really unfortunate, honestly, and I can kind of speak for TD and all the running backs when they are undervalued. And I hear MJD talk about this all the time, and it's just the nature of the business, unfortunately. And so if you have a chance, and TD talked about this earlier when we were having our meeting, if you have a chance to get a guy in the first round, you get him for 5, maybe 6 years on a rookie deal, I mean, that's a pretty good thing. So but when you start getting up into this high-priced running back territory, it's just not feasible from a front office standpoint. And maybe Todd Gurley is healthy. Maybe he can give more than what he gave last year and the end of 2 years ago. And I hope that's the case, and I hope he goes somewhere like Seattle and gets to show some people that, especially the Rams. I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be a good kind of recovery for him. But it's just the nature of where we're at right now at the running back position. You can grab young guys, you can run their legs off, and you can go get somebody else. And unfortunately, that's the case, and it's not that highly valued.
Yeah, and David, it's the only position in football where you can get better and you can deserve a big contract, but teams are apprehensive. They don't want to pay you the big money.
Yeah.
Your first 5 years in the league, you can have all-world stats, and all of a sudden you're looking at a situation where people don't want to pay you for that because they're concerned that you can get injured or have a plateau or have some situation where you're not productive in the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. Every other position gets paid. And I said this before. The CBA, when they did that, they should have fought for, at least the running backs, fight for less than 4 years and that fifth-year option. And that didn't happen for any running backs. So, unfortunately, we'll see running backs being devalued in the next couple of years.
TD and DC with us for the full hour, but for now, we say bye, Felicia.
My man.
Todd Gurley wasn't the only move that the Rams made today. Los Angeles also cut linebacker Clay Matthews. Clay only played one season with the Rams, signing a 2-year contract with them prior to last season. He started 13 games this last year, recorded 8 sacks. There's also been some rumblings and rumor about a possible reunion in Green Bay for the former Pro Bowl linebacker. Nothing official, though, yet on that. By most
others still waiting to find a new home. The business of life and complications from the tremendous challenges we all face impacting this process as well. We're glad you're with us. Talking football's been a welcome distraction for all of us for a little while. Josina Anderson, Mike Tannenbaum, Dan Graziano, I'm Susie Kalber, and many more joining us by remote. Adam Schefter, Ryan Clark, Louis Riddick, Dan Orlovsky. Everybody's with us for the next hour. But Adam, let's start with you and the news that you broke on the former Super Bowl MVP quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Well, Susie, a short time ago, the Broncos notified Joe Flacco that they were releasing him with a failed physical designation, which means that Joe Flacco now joins the list of available quarterbacks on the street. That includes other players like Jameis Winston. There are quarterbacks on the block like Andy Dalton and Cam Newton. And we said all along that this would be an off-season where there would be a surplus of quarterbacks. And this just adds to the list at this point in time with Joe Flacco, now a free agent 1 year after the Broncos traded a fourth-round pick to the Baltimore Ravens to get him. And it's quite a week for former Super Bowl MVPs. We have Joe Flacco being let go by the Broncos. We have Nick Foles being traded to Chicago. And we have TB going to TB, waiting for that contract to be done.
So, Adam, let's continue here. And the biggest fish in the pond, obviously, Tom Brady and the Bucs. This deal isn't officially done yet, but it seems like it's being worked out. There's obvious complications just because of what all of us are going through. So where does that stand right now?
Well, as Jeff Darlington reported, Tom Brady was taking